President of Columbia University, Professor Stiglitz, faculty members and students, friends and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly an honor for me to be invited to speak at the world-renowned Columbia University, where 3 United States presidents, including President Obama, 9 justices of the Supreme Court, and 39 Nobel Prize winners have studied. This is a record which is certainly hard to beat, and I'm certainly proud to be one of the world's most important centers of research and academic excellence, and absorb the vibrant atmosphere for learning. As you heard in the introduction, during my days as a student, I failed to cross the Atlantic Ocean. So I was stuck in the United Kingdom with friends like Boris Johnson, and actually David Cameron is 2 years my junior, both at school and university. And so it's a great pleasure to finally make my way here, although very briefly. And of course, even from my days as a student, I had actually not just heard of Professor Stiglitz, but had to read his articles. I remember trying to understand credit rationing. I don't know if you remember writing about credit rationing all those years ago. But I am pleased to be here, and I know that there are so many Thai students studying in the US. My estimate is about 9,000. 57 of them are actually here at this very university. And the US has produced many prominent and able graduates who are now leaders in Thai public and private sectors, including many members of my cabinet and members of my delegation who are here with me today. You may be surprised that the topic that has been chosen is actually talking about post-crisis. I'm sure many of you may have in your mind, but you are politely thinking, why is he talking about post-crisis when there is so much more that needs to be done? And of course, as you heard again in the introduction, I knew from day one that the circumstances that I faced when I assumed office was fairly unique. Not only did my country, Thailand, has to face the impact of the global economic crisis, which is being felt around the world, and is said to be the worst in many, many decades. But of course, the country had been stuck in political impasse, or some would say political crisis, for over 2 to 3 years. The one thing I have to clear right from the start is that this talk of post-crisis is not about complacency. Yes, the 9 months that we've been in office, we've made some and very substantial progress in terms of achieving economic recovery and also political reconciliation. The numbers for our economy are improving month on month, quarter on quarter, and we expect to see growth to resume to normal rates at the latest, maybe next year or towards the end of next year. As for political reconciliation, although the demonstrations continue, differences still exist, but there is clearly greater calm and stability. And again, let me reiterate that we are not in any way being complacent about the situation, and in fact, as soon as I get back to Thailand, my proposal for a roadmap to constitutional amendments and political reconciliation will be discussed with leading members of parliament and political parties so that we can move ahead on that front too. But the reason I want to talk about a post-crisis scenario is simply this. We have to remind ourselves in these days where you tend to be faced with day-to-day problems, sometimes even day-to-day crises, and forget the bigger picture. And I believe that you have to know where you want to go before you know what you have to do. And setting out and spelling out what we see as the appropriate political and economic structure for the country, for Thailand, post-crisis, I think gives us a very good idea of what we need to do now and what we have to avoid. That is why I have chosen to talk about this topic at this particular time. And in 2 days' time, I shall be in Pittsburgh. I can tell you that I will certainly strongly express my view that it's certainly too premature to talk about exit strategies for fiscal stimulus and monetary policy that would support growth. But as I say, I'm now interested in taking you through some thought exercise on what I think Thailand needs in terms of preparing herself for the post-crisis scenario. I shall talk less about the economy. I have other occasions, and perhaps too many occasions, on my trip to talk about that. The stimulus package we put in is designed not only to create jobs, but also to increase competitiveness and prepare ourselves for the post-crisis world, particularly the issue of food and energy security, the ability to compete with low costs, and the vital role of innovation and creative thinking in contributing to an economy like Thailand. But I will concentrate on the political side, particularly democracy, because I'm sure that the pictures that you've seen on your television screens over the past 2 to 3 years, you've seen demonstrations, you've seen chaos, sometimes you even see violence. And the question is, does that reflect the failure of democracy in Thailand? And where is that going to lead Thai politics? Given that maybe going only as far back as a decade ago, Thailand was often seen as an example or even a model of how a growing democracy should progress. We had a very progressive constitution back in 1997. We were known for a country that was very open, allowed freedom of expression, ranked very highly in comparison to most countries in the region. And yet, a decade on, the impression people have of Thai politics is one of chaos, conflict, and violence. Well, let me tell you first of all, though, that there is no question that despite the differences in opinion, there is still a consensus among Thai people in Thai society, and it is still the aspiration of Thai people that we continue on a democratic path, and that we still firmly believe that only a democratic system will lead us to sustainable development that will deliver peace and prosperity for all Thai people. But we know that in a democracy, uncertainty and sometimes volatility or even instability comes with it. And even in well-established democracies, if you look back, there's always a history in which there's a period of uncertainty, a period of instability. Even civil war have happened in established democracies. Just last year, 4 prime ministers. But again, I would insist that does not reflect failure on the part of Thai democracy. I see democracy in Thailand as being vibrantly at work. And when Secretary Clinton visited Thailand in July earlier this year, she said it, and she said it well, that Thai politics is as spicy as its food. So we've been through ups and downs, and we're determined that we learn from this experience. The whole society is learning to adapt and to find ways to have a more mature and sustainable democracy. And the one thing that is certain, that after all the political difficulties that we are going through, at least now, Thai people in all walks of life at all levels are becoming increasingly aware of the importance of politics to their lives, and they are more determined to engage in politics directly, which to me can only be the strongest foundation for a better democracy in the future. They will no longer leave politics in the hands of the few, and politics will certainly no longer be a matter of a few elites or people at the top. It is now in every household, and I see this as a silver lining in the cloud that we have had in this form of political crisis. So let me share with you some of my thoughts on what type of democracy is needed in Thailand.